Welcome to the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell. We're here talking about how great Drake May is at football. We're here talking about our best 5 spreads for week 14. And we're also here talking about a little Thursday night football, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, man, people in the room. G Money Grant Mitchell, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Tanner. I got to admit, I had a little, I don't know, FOMO. FOMO's not quite the right word. I was just a little jealous. I was happy for you. Basically, you're experiencing with Drake May what we here in DC experienced with Jaden last year. And I'm happy that you're getting it, but I'm also sad because my team's 3-9 now. And I remember we were in the championship game. My young quarterback was in MVP conversations, and I don't have that anymore. I miss it.
No, Drake May is the best quarterback from the class. So it just took a little more time for him to get to where he is now than your guy Jaden. But Drake May is the best quarterback in the class.
No, he's not. It's not. And I'm not saying Jaden is either. It's one of them. It's one of those two. We don't know who's better.
Bo Nix. Bo Nix is good.
He's getting, you know what? I got to be honest, because I am officially self-declared Bo Nix hater. He's getting better.
He's good. Who else is in the class? JJ McCarthy sucks.
Michael Penix Jr. sucks. And Caleb Williams.
So Caleb is getting up there, I guess.
No, his team's doing good. He's still not playing well. I mean, that when they just beat whoever they beat, he had like 130 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. They're kind of winning in spite of him.
The Bears aren't good. Like, I will stand on that. They have not beaten a good team yet, and I don't classify the Eagles as a good football team. I really don't, because when you look at the Detroit Lions, when you look at the Green Bay Packers, like, those offenses shut down against the Philadelphia Eagles. We can talk about how great their defense is, but the Bears were able to run the ball on them at will. So if you could just score a little bit on the Eagles, you're going to beat them. You got to score 17, 20 points. You win the game. Simple.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot of very weird teams out there right now. Genuinely, when we talk about this being one of the most wide open pushes for the Super Bowl in recent history, it's not just that there is no dominant team. Like, yeah, the Pats are 11-2, but look me in the eyes and tell me they are a dominant team that's guaranteed to make the conference championship game. You can't do that. There's no team like that. But it's also the fact that these good teams, right? Patriots 11-2. Can you make a turnaround that quickly? History tells us you can't. The Denver Broncos at 10-2. You know, they've got an elite defense, elite offense line, all this stuff. Is Bo Nix going to make the play? You tell me. The Jags are the 3rd seed in the AFC. The Jaguars, really, they weren't even winning their division last week. How do you feel about them? The Bears, the 1 seed in the NFC. You just said you don't think they're a good football team. How about the Eagles? You just said you don't think they're a good football team. How about the Packers or the Lions? Well, they keep losing these random games to the Panthers. And the Rams, speaking of losing to the Panthers, they just lost last week. And the Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield went from MVP to mediocre. Like, it's just, none of these teams, you don't have a beat on any of these teams because they could be a completely different football team 1 week to the next.
I mean, the Patriots right now are picked to win the AFC, which I'm starting to come around on that idea that they have the team to win the AFC, because the one thing about the Patriots is they've taken care of business. They might have an easy schedule, but they've beaten everybody into submission. And you look at what happened with Carolina this week going up against the Rams.
Yep.
The Rams come out and lose to Carolina. The Patriots smacked Carolina. So it's going to be really interesting. But when I look at the most complete teams in the AFC right now, Denver is definitely one of those teams. Obviously, New England is one of those teams. Buffalo's not. And Tony Romo, the entire broadcast, just glazing their run game. Oh, they can run the football. That translates in December. They can run the football. They have no skill players. You have just Josh Allen, and you have a mediocre defense. You can't win the AFC like that. They couldn't win it when they were good. They're not winning it this year.
Yeah, they have a good running game, and that translates. The problem is, when we say they have a running game, we normally say that as it's a supplemental factor because you have everything else in place. The run game guarantees are going to be that. With the Bills, they have a run game. I got that. I'm worried about everything else. I wasn't worried about the running game.
Yeah, and also, too, they're talking about Tony Romo on the broadcast being, oh, they walked into Pittsburgh and they ran for the most yards ever. And the Steelers can't score. If you were going up against an offense that had a pulse, you would have to be able to throw the football, and they're not able to do it right now with Josh Allen. Like, they're so sporadic on offense. I mean, the AFC, I'd say it's wide open, but there's really nobody that's going to take control outside of the Patriots and the Broncos in my mind. But the Ravens could easily get it done. The Chiefs could easily get it done. Grant, here's my question to you. If the Chiefs get in, do they win the conference?
No.
Okay. Do they get in?
Again, math is probably, when you break everything down, you probably can convince yourself the answer is no. It's just so hard for me to see them not being in there. So I'm gonna, they've earned just as much benefit of the doubt as any team in NFL history. So I'm gonna say they get in, but they don't look good. They have problems too.
This is a brutal schedule. Texans, Chargers, Titans, Broncos, Raiders. You got 3 out of 5 tough games, and you got to win them all. So if anyone can do it, it's Mahomes. But I do think if the Chiefs get in, watch out for the Chiefs because nobody else is that good.
Yeah, it's just hard for me to see them making the Super Bowl this year because I don't even know if they're going to make the playoffs. But if they get in, they can beat every team in front of them. I don't think they will because you have to win 4 games in a row. And I don't think they'll do that. But I think they'll win 1. I think they'll win 2.
And then the NFC, it's clear cut, like it's Rams all the way. Potentially the Packers or the Eagles, but this is crazy. I never thought we'd see the odds like this. We got the Rams at plus 250. We got the Seahawks at plus 470. Sam Darnold cannot play football. He forgot how to play football, and they're picked second in the conference. So Jalen Hurts forgot too, I guess. But Green Bay 5-1, who's the most inconsistent team ever. Then Philly 5-1. Then the Bears 11-1. I mean, outside of the Rams, there's no team there that I trust at all.
I don't trust, genuinely, hand over heart. A team, okay, what's the minimum? Let's say a team that I trust to win a minimum of 2 playoff games, because that at least gets you to the conference championship. I would say the Rams, and that's probably it in the entire NFL, both conferences.
I trust the Chiefs if they get in.
To win, but you can't. That's the thing. They have to get in, and we don't know they will.
No, we don't. But if you take Patrick Mahomes getting into the playoffs after winning 5 straight regular season games against 3 quality opponents, and you stick him in the playoffs against some of the scrubs that are in the playoffs, you think this year's version of Lamar is beating Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs? No. You think Josh?
The Ravens could fall out of the playoffs too.
The Ravens could. I don't think they will, but the Ravens are still a team that's very much alive in the AFC, but Lamar forgot how to play football. So I don't know if that's possible. All these quarterbacks, they're all terrible except Joe Burrow. He's the only good one now. Stafford, Burrow, and Drake May.
Yeah. And speaking of those quarterbacks, if we look at MVP odds, Drake May, your boy, took over the MVP favorite according to the odds makers. Stafford and him are still basically like right neck and neck. They're going to continue to oscillate who has the lead, but they will be very close for the rest of the year probably. Dak Prescott is shot up into 3rd. Jordan Love after him. And then you got a little bit of a drop off to Josh Allen, and then it kind of falls off from there to everyone else.
Drake May has been fantastic this season. 70% completion. 3,412 yards, 23 touchdowns, 6 picks. Matthew Stafford's been better on the touchdowns and the picks. I think he's got like 10 more touchdowns before picks, but Drake May also has the running, 319 yards, 2 touchdowns there. I mean, it's a tight race. I probably lean Stafford, but that's just me.
Yeah, I was leaning Stafford for the most of the season. I definitely understand why May made up ground this last week. I would still give it to Stafford, but yeah, it's if we have one more week where it's like Drake May does what he just did, Stafford does what he just did, then I would be probably going to May.
And I'll say this too, and the last thing before we move into our Thursday night football conversation, huge game, but when we look at just like if the Patriots would have lost to the Panthers like they did, and May would have had multiple interceptions like Matthew Stafford did, that his odds would have really tanked, where Stafford's barely fell. I mean, he went from minus 260 to plus 125 or whatever it was. But still, if you saw that from Drake May, those odds really would have crumbled because he was behind in the race.
Yeah, it's still, and to be fair, it doesn't look like much when you look at the numbers, but if you take the implied probability of it, if Stafford was minus 260, then what? He had an implied probability of like 70%, and now if he's back around 1-1, that's 50%. So that 20% is a big change.
No, it's a huge change, but like Drake would have fallen further, I think, because you're losing. The biggest thing, I don't even know if it's the picks. Like Stafford still had a pretty big offensive day. It
Yeah.
was more like you're losing to a team that is garbage as a 10-point
Panthers
favorite.
aren't garbage.
They're not, but they were still a 10-point favorite. Like you can't lose as a 10-point favorite. And the Panthers are not garbage, but they're not good either. Like let's just get that on the table. They have found a way to win close games. I give them credit for that, but they're not great.
They're a very weird team. Their recent results, they beat the Rams, lose 20-9 to the 49ers, beat the Falcons, lose 17-7 to the Saints, beat the Packers, lose 40-9 to the Bills, and then they win 3 straight games before that: Jets, Cowboys, and Dolphins.
So the tiebreaker is division record, right?
Head to head, then
yeah. Like after
if we're talking about divisional opponents, yes, it's division. If we're talking about conference opponents, it's conference.
So I guess Tampa is still a game up on Carolina because they haven't had Carolina hasn't had their bye yet. So that's probably coming up this week.
Yes, it would have to.
And then Tampa has Tampa's 7-5. Tampa's gonna be 8-5 after this week once they beat the Saints again at home. Right. So it's probably not looking good for Carolina unless Carolina, the Panthers have to sweep them. The Bucs have to go 1-1 against Carolina if each team just wins out.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Well, Baker's going to the playoffs. That's what that means. Anyways, this is Ride the Line, the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. Make sure you guys subscribe to the podcast, like, share, do it all. We got a lot of good conversation coming up with the playoffs here. We'll do some college football playoff stuff as well once we get to that. Grant's Georgia Bulldogs are going to get smacked this weekend by the Alabama Crimson Tide in Georgia. I can't wait for that game. So we'll be talking about that a little bit coming up. And we also have the NBA. So make sure you guys keep subscribing to the show, like, share. We got betting picks every single Tuesday and Friday and clips throughout the week. Grant, tell the people about WSN.com.
100%, guys. If you're enjoying the content here, then you're going to love it. Over at WSN.com, we do have picks for all of big sports. Basketball, I know it's not in season right now, but baseball, hockey, soccer, football, anything you're looking for, we got it there at WSN.com. Also, promo codes for the sports books get you thousands of dollars worth of bonuses. It's there to be claimed for all sports bettors at WSN.com. That includes Missouri. Congratulations, Missouri. The official Missouri sports betting market launched yesterday. I know 10 entities got licensed. I think like 7, 8, 9 of them launched on December 1st. So congratulations, guys. But this is the perfect time for you to go get those sportsbook bonus codes. And again, we have them at WSN.com. So make sure you check it out.
Yep. Make sure you guys check it all out here at Ride the Line and WSN. All that's linked in the bio. Grant, why don't you take us into a big Thursday night football game coming up?
Who would have thought that we would be at the point where you got close to a pick'em between the Detroit Lions and the Dallas Cowboys? Not a full pick'em. Lions favored by 3 points here, but if we were talking about this game a month ago, we would have said, yeah, we'll set the line at about 11, 12 points in favor of the Lions. Now you got the Lions going downhill, like there's a foot of snow on the ground and you're at the top of the hill, you're getting your sled out, you're about to jump on it and go down. While the Cowboys, they're taking the ski lift up to the top because they look like a very good football team. It's not out of the question they win the NFC East. It is unlikely, but it is still on the board. And we've seen the Eagles lose 6 out of 7 games down the stretch just 2 years ago. It just happened. So if they do that, they continue to play the way they have. The Cowboys continue to take off. Maybe we've got a conversation here. So all of that brings us to Thursday night football. Both teams were in action on Thursday last week on Thanksgiving. They're rolling it back over into primetime. Huge game for both teams. Tanner, how do you see this one playing out?
Well, the craziest thing to me to start it off is if you said at the beginning of the season that the Dallas Cowboys, after the Cowboys were sliding a little bit, were going to go to Detroit and be the public pick. That's what would surprise me. I'm kind of shocked by that still. I think the Lions are really susceptible to good teams rushing the passer, and the Cowboys can get pressure right now. Defensively, they have tightened up a little bit. They're still going to give up yards throughout the air. They're still going to give up points, but I don't necessarily trust the Lions offense to go shot for shot with anybody because we've seen it time and time again. They do stupid things. They don't take points. They don't convert when they need to. And as great as they are, as explosive as they are with Amon-Ra St. Brown, if he does ultimately play in this game with his ankle injury from Thanksgiving, and Jahmyr Gibbs and Jared Goff, like if you don't protect Jared Goff, you can't score. And then to top it off, when you do get something going, you get stopped on fourth down, you're going to lose football games because that's what they do. They never take points. So it's a spot where I still can't wrap my head around the Cowboys being this good of a football team. But the Cowboys present a lot of challenges to Detroit because they need to score. The Detroit needs to score with Dallas. I don't think they can do that at this point.
Yeah, the Detroit offense is starting to take a step back, and if Amon-Ra doesn't play, obviously that's going to hurt them. We've talked about it on the show, but there isn't much of a split back committee anymore. It really is just kind of the Jahmyr Gibbs show, and then David Montgomery gets his carries where he gets them. We know Laporta is out, and now Brock Wright is out. They're having problems at center. Glasnow's out. They bring, what's his name? Frank Ragnow back out of retirement. He's not available for them. So this offense is it's getting beat up. It's also not been as effective. Dan Campbell seemed like a great play caller against the Commanders, but we kind of quickly found out it's just the Commanders in the game since then. Play calling hasn't been great. It's not been cohesive. And then this defense, they have solid metrics, but it seems like when they face these really good teams, they need to get the stops. They are not doing that. So I'm with you that it seems wild to imagine this line being this close. But at the same time, if you've been watching the Cowboys recently, they've been getting better and better. And the additions of Quinnen Williams and Logan Wilson legitimately look like their defense could be average or even maybe a little bit below average. But when you've got one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL, you're able to overcome that.
Yeah. And the thing that has been the biggest noticeable effect for me is like Dan Campbell calling the plays. Like I think people are happy about that. But since he's called the plays, the offense has not looked good at all. And they were looking better early in the season when he wasn't calling the plays. So I know they made the transition. I don't necessarily understand why, because I don't think he's done a great job calling the offense. And he's done a terrible job managing games. And that's one thing the Cowboys, like, you haven't found, or you're not going to find a more connected football team right now than the Dallas Cowboys. They're all getting along. George Pickens is getting fed. CeeDee Lamb's getting fed. There's no drama on the offense. I mean, they're going to Vegas to gamble the night before a game, and they're coming out and they're just dominating. This is vintage Cowboys football here. And I think Schottenheimer's just letting them play, and they're all getting along. And I think it's a good mix right now.
Yeah. So looking at the last month of football, which is when Dan Campbell started calling plays, getting into my nerdy advanced numbers here, the Cowboys lead the NFL in EPA per play. The Lions are at 7th. The Cowboys are 2nd in success rate. The Lions are 8th. If we take the last 3 weeks, because I'm sure the Lions numbers are greatly inflated by what they did against the Commanders in that game. If we take the last 3 weeks, the Cowboys are 2nd in EPA per play. The Lions are 18th. If we look at success rate, the Cowboys are 3rd. The Lions are 18th once again.
Like Dan Campbell has become even worse at managing games since calling plays. And I don't blame him, because you need to think of a next play, and you also need to think of the decision where it's like you got your offensive coordinator. Hey, you got 2 plays to get this. We're going for it 100% of the time. But for him, it's like, that the processing speed's got to be a little lower. So I'm not a fan of head coaches calling plays unless they're like offensive gurus and they've done it their whole life. I'm not saying Dan Campbell's not that, but he hasn't called plays in so long, and now you're coming in to call plays, and it's a really hard transition to make.
Yeah, especially midseason. If he decided on this in the offseason, it might be able to work better. And to your point, Sean McVay does it, Kyle Shanahan does it, Andy Reid does it, but they've been doing it for so long. There was never a break. Dan Campbell hasn't done this, and to just kind of make this change on the fly while now battling injuries, and considering his weakness was in-game management, yeah, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, and Ben Johnson was doing everything for him, I imagine. Like I can't picture he had that big of a hand in the offense, right? Like he had a hand in the offense. He knew what the scheme was, but like he was full game management and leadership, and obviously making sure everything's running smooth amongst every single position. But right now, when he's got too big of a hand in the offense, he can't, whatever, the new offensive coordinator couldn't get it done. So that'd go. He's got to manage the offense. You got to manage the game. You got to worry about what's going on with special teams and defense and all that. Like it's just too much. And this is going to be their ultimate demise. And the Lions, if they lose this game, severe risk of not making the playoffs.
Now, on the flip side, I want us to be very cautious here, because the Cowboys do look better, but we have a tendency to do this in sports. The Cowboys have won 3 straight games. They beat the Eagles, they beat the Chiefs. They're going to beat the Lions, or they're going to cover the spread. It doesn't always work like that. Teams slip up. Good teams lose to teams they shouldn't. And we don't even know if the Cowboys are a good team. It's been 3 weeks and they've looked pretty solid, but they were down 21-0 to the Eagles. They did allow Mahomes to go for 270 yards and 4 touchdowns. So are they actually a good team, or have they just been finding ways to win exciting games?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if the Cowboys come out and get smacked, because that's how the NFL works. Like, teams get humbled after a few wins, and they fall off the cliff, and they're riding high off just what they've done in the past month. But it's a spot where I'm not really comfortable with either team. I think if I had to make a bet, I am going to lay the points with the Detroit Lions in this game. But it wouldn't surprise me if the Cowboys just blow them off the field. It also wouldn't surprise me if the Cowboys get blown off the field.
Yeah, so 3-point spread here. Fanatics has it at 3.5. I was looking around to see if anybody had it at 2.5, because I thought that could be the play for the Lions. Not seeing it there, so maybe wait throughout the week or check for live betting. I'm with you. If I had to take a side, and I probably personally will not do that because I think it is a very close game and I think there's merit to both sides, I would prefer taking the Lions, just because while I've liked more what I've seen from the Cowboys in the last 3 weeks, I know what I've seen from the Lions for the last 3 years. For the Lions, I'm still trying to learn what they are. I'm in the process of it, but I don't know it yet. So I would be more comfortable with the Lions, even though it's risky. The Cowboys look good right now.
Detroit to make the playoffs, plus 130 right now.
Really?
I think that's a better bet than the Chiefs to make it at plus 106.
Well, right now the Lions are 8th. They will not. The 49ers are 7th at 9-4, which is a game and a half ahead of the Lions. The problem is the Lions at 7-5. They got the Packers, who are 8-3-1 above them, and they got the Bears at 9-3 above them.
So they really, 7-5, that's crazy. So you got 12, so you got 5 games left. I mean, if you go 12-5 and you don't get in, that's just crazy to think.
12-5 would get in. There's a chance 11-6 they're not in.
Would 12-5 get you in, though, with just who you have ahead? Like the Seahawks, Packers, and Niners are 2 games up, so they kind of control their own destiny there.
Well, who do the Lions? So the Lions down the stretch, they have they've got Cowboys, Rams, Steelers, Vikings, and Bears. So they're not going 5-0. I just don't see that happening.
No, so they're probably out. It's crazy.
They're 11 and we're looking at 11-6 best case.
It's a good thing I cashed out my Lions Super Bowl bet. That was a smart move by me. You don't even realize it. Like, the Chiefs could miss, the Lions could miss. It's the Bills are probably going to get in, but the Colts now, like, they're kind of falling off. Chargers are falling off a little bit. Like, it's crazy to think where we're at in the season at this point. No Mahomes, Lamar sucks, Josh Allen can't get it done right now. It's just a weird spot.
That's what I said about the Big Four. If someone told you there was a Big Four and this was your first year watching football, you would think the Big Four was Stafford, May, Love, and Dak. That something like maybe
not Love. Love's looked pretty bad at times too.
Yeah, he has. I don't know.
There's not a Big Four.
Darnold for the first 10 weeks.
Oh my God, he's terrible. He is the worst quarterback I've ever seen in my life. He is so bad at football. So bad.
Let me give you some player props here, because we talked about it. It's tough picking a major. I'll take Dak for the most passing yards in this game, and I think this applies whether it is a Lions win or a Cowboys win. You just lean into your strengths, and right now there are very, very, very few teams in the NFL that are equipped to handle Dak Prescott, George Pickens, and CeeDee Lamb. You see that week in and week out. And the Lions defense, yeah, it's better than average, but they can be got. And you've seen that recently, specifically against the good teams. And then I'll take a George Pickens anytime touchdown score. CeeDee Lamb, still a better player than George Pickens, sure, but Pickens looks better than he does right now. And Pickens just seems to be more physical in the red zone. They like targeting him on those slants. So I'll take him to score.
All right, so my 2 props in this game, I'm going to take Jared Goff for an interception. You're getting that plus 130 right now. I think the Cowboys are going to heat him up, not only on the defensive side of the ball, but I think they're going to be able to score and force Jared Goff to have to throw the ball down the field a little bit. And the bottom line, if you get pressure on Jared Goff, you give yourself a chance to get an interception, because he literally cannot. He's the one, and no quarterback can do well with pressure. Jared Goff is probably one of the worst quarterbacks under pressure I think I've seen in the NFL. my time watching the NFL.
He can't move.
He can't move. He's very stiff in the pocket. If you give him time, he can pick you apart, but that doesn't happen, especially with bad play calling from Dan Campbell. Second prop that we're going to go with, the usual one here. They do not have the combined number, so I will just go with the regular number here. Jahmyr Gibbs over 74.5 rushing yards. I do like his combined number when that does come out. We don't exactly know, but Jahmyr Gibbs has been the workhorse for them. If you have any chance of making the playoffs, you need to feed him. And right now, the playoffs don't look very good. He had 20 carries for 68 yards against the Packers. David Montgomery, I believe, still got a good chunk of carries against Green Bay. If you want to see Grant looking that up there, but 68 yards against the Packers, 20 carries. They're going to keep feeding him because it wasn't even working against the Packers, and they still continue to give him the football here. I think they have a much better chance of running the ball on the Dallas Cowboys in this spot, especially if he can break through a little bit. I mean, the Packers have shut down Jahmyr Gibbs his entire career, so that was no surprise to see that. This is a spot where I think you can get back and get him some bursts and get to this number pretty quickly.
8 carries for 32 yards and a touchdown last week. And if I'm not mistaken, I want to say his line was 32.5. So
yeah, he still went under. Yeah. I love the over on that, and he went under. It was a rough weekend of betting for sure.
It's funny because we're talking about, we both like the Lions, but then you take Goff interception, I take Dak passing yards, George Pickens touchdown. And it makes sense. There's going to be points. The over-under is 54.5, which I have to assume is the highest of the week, but still.
Yeah, I think the Cowboys right now, it's just a team that we don't exactly know what they are. Schottenheimer, everyone seems to like each other. Pickens is happy. They're all getting along. Dak's getting him the football. They're scoring. They're winning a few games, but they're still average. In the end of the day, this is still a mid-football team. I don't want to. Let's not think that signing Quinnen Williams made this team a great football team by any means. They're playing well.
They're exciting. Doesn't mean they're good.
They're exciting. They're very exciting. Yeah, and you know what? They're also playing with nothing to lose right now in a way. So as they keep winning, the stakes get higher and higher. You got to keep it going. Like last week, Patrick Mahomes coming to town. That's their Super Bowl. The Chiefs are just trying to stay alive. They're trying to keep their head above water, where the Chiefs, they're the Cowboys, Thanksgiving Day game against Patrick Mahomes, Post Malone halftime show. This is the Super Bowl. This is as big as it's going to get for them. So of course they're going to come out and play on fire.
But I also do want to give them credit because that's the type of game the Cowboys have lost for the last decade. They always lose the big game.
Yes, but is it even a big game? Is it even a big game? If you lose it, you're expected to lose. You're not going to the playoffs anyways. That's kind of where this isn't like the Tony Romo days where you're competing for a playoff spot or you're in the playoffs, whatever. He fumbles the snap. It just feels different. They're playing for nothing. It was just like a one-off game.
Yeah, fair.
So, anyways,
we good on this one?
We are good. Let's move into the spreads, Grant.
The top 5 picks in the NFL on Sunday. Tanner and I are about to break down for you all what they are. We each have our list of the top 5 spread bets for week 14. We have not compared notes with one another. We do know each other well, so sometimes we have a bit of a beat on where each other is going, but absolutely no conversations between us. We are going to all find out live in real time here where we are going. So do you want to share first? Or do you want me to share first?
I can share first here, Grant. I'm going to start it off, and I'm going to get back to the roots of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they need a dominant win. They need to have one. This is the week you got to have one. Bucs minus 8.5 against the New Orleans Saints. Tampa Bay has not been playing great, but you finally get your stars back, and it was noticeable on the offensive side of the ball. You got to do a better job getting it to Emeka Egbuka in critical situations. You got to find a way to get him to score. But having Bucky Irving back in the lineup really helped them offensively. Bucky, 17 carries, 61 yards. Chris Godwin popped off from a receiving standpoint last week, 78 yards. This game, the Bucs controlled it. They were up, I think it was 17-3 at one point. And then the Cardinals found a way to creep back in. But I look at the Bucs right now, you're just in need for a big win, coming back home, right? Or staying home for the second week in a row. The New Orleans Saints, you beat them 23-3 last time in their building. The Saints have not gotten that much better in my mind. They are 2-10. They are terrible on the road this season. Lost by 4 to the Dolphins last week. You lost by 14 to the Falcons the week before that. You lost by 24 to the Rams. You lost by 20 to the Bucs. Your one win in this stretch is the Panthers, 17-7. So more than capable there, but it's just a spot where I like Tampa Bay. I think they're going to be ready to go, knowing this division is getting a lot tighter right now.
Yeah, I tried to warn people about Tyler Shuck. And I mean, his numbers look okay. If you look at him, 239 yards, 2 touchdowns, and interception, but he did not play well against the Dolphins. The Dolphins really should have covered. It was just garbage time stats that got him back in there. Had a QBR of 30 last week, 31 the week before that. It's at 36.5 for the season. He's just not very good. The Saints are not very good. They will be picking second, third in the draft. So I'm not opposed to taking the Bucs here.
All right, Grant, what's your first pick?
I'm going to take the team that I just mentioned. I'll take the Miami Dolphins -2.5 at the New York Jets here. So road divisional favorite square bet. I get it. Okay. I don't like it either. I don't like betting on the Dolphins. I especially don't like betting on the Dolphins to win their 4th straight game because they are on a 3-game winning streak. And I don't think the Dolphins, the way they're presently constructed, I don't think they should ever be winning 4 games in a row. But that's what I'm picking them to do. Because when I look at the New York Jets, the Jets defense is terrible, and without Sauce Gardner and Quentin Williams, obviously it's even worse. Now, I want to give them credit because they did find a way to beat the Atlanta Falcons, and it's a Kirk Cousins-led Falcons that isn't coached well. I get it, but you look at some of the numbers here. I mean, the Falcons had a better time of possession. They ran the ball more effectively. They threw it more effectively. Yards per play, they won 5.8 to 4.3. That 4.3 is terrible. Really, the difference was the Jets did a solid job on 3rd down, and then they forced a turnover. But that's something they haven't done all year. I believe they were dead last in turnovers forced. So with the Dolphins coming on the road, Tua is miserable. Tua is terrible. He's got 14 interceptions, something like that. But their defense has quietly somehow played a little bit better despite all of the injuries. And then Devon Achane has just been a madman for the last month or so. It's going to be a cold weather game. The Dolphins don't like that. They're like 1-4 on the road. But having the ability to run can separate, can give you something that you have lacked in years past with your ability to run the football. And the Jets, we're talking about the Dolphins winning 4 straight games. Well, do you trust the Jets to win what would be 4 out of 6? As bad as I think the Dolphins are, I think they're a lot better than the Jets are.
This is also one of my picks, Grant, because I totally agree with you. I don't think the Dolphins can lose this game with how the Jets are. Like Tyrod Taylor gives you a better chance to win, I think, than Justin Fields for sure. No doubt about it. But the Jets still aren't that good of a football team. And you look at what the Falcons, the opportunities that they had last week, just couldn't get it done. I mean, they had multiple chances to go out and win the football game. Credit to the Jets for getting it done. But I think there's something to be said, too, about the Dolphins sticking with a guy like Mike McDaniel, especially after all the reports coming out saying players don't show up to meetings. And all. Like, everyone seems to love Mike McDaniel down there. And I think that's translated to how they have played lately. And Tua, while he's not the best quarterback in the world by any means, he's still good. He's still good enough to pick up yards. He's going to turn it over. But that offense is so tough to stop with all the speed that they have in the motion. I don't think the Jets are going to be ready for it. And
I'd rather have Tua than Tyrod, as much as it pains me to admit it.
I mean, Tua's good. He's going to have a couple he's going to have a couple interceptions where you're like, oh my God, how did you throw that football? What is wrong with you? But then he's also going to make good throws when guys are going to be running wide open down the field and they're going to be carving up defenses because of how fast they are.
Yeah, agreed. So you've already given 2 then, so it's back over to me here. I don't know how you're going to feel about this one. And I've been wrong about this team this entire season. And it's my own team, the Commanders. I have not got a pick for them right. I don't know. We're in week 14, and I've probably gotten their picks right like 4 times. They've been so hard to read. I am going to take them -1.5 on the road against the Minnesota Vikings. J.J. McCarthy is awful. Is
he back? Is he coming back?
Expected to return, yes. Okay. I don't think he's cleared concussion protocol, but they think he will. I was looking at some numbers, and he is the least efficient quarterback in the NFL since 2000, aside from Jamarcus Russell. There are like 846 quarterbacks. He's 845. Only Jamarcus Russell is worse. So he's terrible. This Vikings defense, yes, they can do some stuff, absolutely. But we've seen it several times this season. I mean, they lose 26-0 last week, 23-6 to the Packers the week before that, 37-10 against the Chargers. That's on the resume. A 22-6 against the Falcons. Yeah, their defense is going to do stuff, but they're not going to score the points for you. And if they're spending 40 minutes on the field, they're going to give up points. Justin Jefferson looks frustrated, and Justin Jefferson is not a diva at all. But so for him to be expressing that shows where he's at. Aaron Jones is getting injured again. The offensive line has had its problems as well. With the Commanders, just went to the final play of overtime against the Broncos. They should be better than a 3-9 team. They were 12-5 in the conference championship last year. And the defense with Dan Quinn as the defensive coordinator, it's early, but it does look a lot better. I really don't think it takes much to beat any of these Vikings quarterbacks.
Well, the bum last week threw like 4 picks and 2 completions to
The
Justin.
bum?
Yeah, what's his name?
Max Brosmer.
Max Bummer.
Yeah.
See, I don't even have to know his name because he's that bad at football. Like, it's not even worth me taking the time to learn his name. When was he picked? Was he like?
He was at UDFA, I think.
Yeah, he should be. He sucks. He should be playing in the XFL. If you have more interceptions than completions to Justin Jefferson, it should be automatic ticket to the XFL. Like, you should just be sent there, or Canada. Honestly, Canada's too good for him. So yeah, I don't know how some of these guys become NFL quarterbacks, especially like guy even like JJ McCarthy. I'm not high on him. 9, my guy 9.
He was a top 10 pick.
He was. They really missed on him. Like, you could just tell. There's sometimes, and I mean, fans are fans for a reason. We're all fans. Like, we're not studying hours of tape like some of these GMs are, obviously. But there's a lot of picks where you're just like, why did they make that pick? That pick makes no sense. And most of the time, I think the fans are right.
With JJ, sometimes I believe in people will tell you what they think of you without saying it. So when Michigan was winning a national championship going undefeated, they did not let JJ McCarthy throw the football. They just didn't.
They also didn't have to.
They didn't have to, but if he was gonna be really good with it, they would have let him do it. I mean, why did they let the defense win games? Because they could. Why did they let Blake Corum run the football? Because they could. If JJ could throw the football, they would have done it. He got drafted off of nice ball placement on third downs when he would have 12 passing attempts in the game. It was just one of those things. Like, it's obvious. The coach is telling you, I don't want him to throw the football. So why would you think you should draft him?
Harbaugh called him the best quarterback in Michigan history.
I mean, what's he supposed to say? Like, that's his quarterback.
That's 9. Honestly,
Harbaugh had the chance to draft him, and he said no.
Him signing why would Harbaugh draft him though? He's got Justin Herbert. Come on.
Well, there was talks of like, hey, he's gonna bring his guy with him.
Honestly, JJ could be better than Justin Herbert. Like, that's how bad these two quarterbacks are. But the coldest thing I've ever seen is like JJ signing after the national championship, the camera with the yellow ink. Like, he did something. That's a sick thing. That's probably the highlight of his career, honestly. But yeah, he's not good. 9 is not good. And I love 9. The memes, every time a quarterback has a bad performance, now they just stick a head on that.
They Photoshop him onto JJ, yeah.
On the one where
one of Lamar is the best.
That one is really good. But yeah, JJ McCarthy's not very good. I am not going to take this though, because I think it's too, like, I think you Commanders fans are riding a little high after beating the almost beating the Broncos the other night.
We're not riding high. We want to lose. We won a top 5 pick.
Well, you'll get one. Trust me, you guys aren't very good, so you'll get one. But I think you guys are riding a little high. You got to go to Minnesota for this game. 9's coming off studying tape all week. I think 9's going to light you guys up, honestly. I think Jefferson's going to have a big game. Like, I think you guys are going to lose, honestly.
I knew there was something wrong with JJ when he said that he brushed his teeth with his left hand. Like, he was talking about like he drinks water with his left hand and he brushes his teeth with his left hand because he's right-handed and he uses it to throw a football, so he wants to like train the other side of his brain.
That's smart though, honestly.
I mean, I'm sure it is smart, but it's like do you think when Peyton Manning was trying to get drafted, he was telling GMs, "Yeah, I brushed my teeth with my left hand"?
Well, that's the kids these days. But JJ also, when he takes his dogs out, he does 10 drops every time he takes his dog out practice. You saw that clip?
Wait, say that. Oh yeah, I did.
Like, he does QB drops, like 5-step drops, 10-step, 6-step drops, whatever, 7-step drops, whatever it is. So he does that when he is taking the dogs out. 9's gonna light you guys up. I'm just be ready for that. Like, Bo Nix is not capable of what 9 can do when he's hot.
Well, I mean, we'll see.
That was your second pick or third pick? Third pick.
Second. Second. You're on number 3 now.
All right. For my third pick here, I'm going to take the Baltimore Ravens -5.5 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Everybody was gassing up Josh Allen and the whole entire Bills offense, James Cook, for running the football, coming into Pittsburgh, running it more than any team has ever run it against them. That's because they don't need to throw, and they couldn't throw last week. Now you have Lamar and the Ravens against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know it's a division game, and I know the Steelers are going to be, woken up after last week. But the core issue here is not the fact that Mike Tomlin can't motivate his football team. Like, the core issue is that the Steelers are not very good at football. Like, that is just where we're at. They are not a good football team. They were a fake division leader. Aaron Rodgers is old. He looks like an old, decrepit man every time he gets touched in the pocket. The receivers don't run the right routes. Nate Washington is the only man with a pulse on the offense right now. I mean, DK Metcalf doesn't even want to be there anymore. Like, he's done. It's not a good mix of players. They can't run the football. They can't protect Rodgers. Rodgers needs protection, and he can only throw if his players get wide open down the field for deep shots. On the flip side, while Lamar Jackson is very bad, like he is, that performance against the Cincinnati Bengals was one of the worst I've ever seen in my life from the entire offense, not just him. They abandoned the run with Derrick Henry. I have no clue why they do that. Lamar turns it over. Defensively, they just got lit up, and everyone's saying, hey, this defense figuring it out, and then Joe Burrow comes in and lights you up. I don't think Aaron Rodgers can do that. I think if I'm picking one team to respond after a bad loss, it will be the Baltimore Ravens, and they are 10 points better than the Pittsburgh Steelers at home.
I fully agree with you on this. This didn't make my card, but I agree with you. I would much rather take the Ravens side of it. I think they're so much better than the Steelers, despite their own problems. The Steelers have now lost 5 of their last 7. One of those wins was against the Flacco Bengals when he just got to town. And the other one was the Colts, which is a good win. So you got to give them that. That's when Danny Dimes had 5 turnovers. Looking at the Steelers down the stretch, so I said before the year Tomlin's 500 streak ends. They finished with a losing record this season. You got 2 games against the Ravens, Dolphins, Browns, and Lions. So you would hope they beat the Dolphins and the Browns. So can they win one game of Ravens, Lions?
No.
I don't think they can, because the Ravens will also probably have something to play for in week 18. So they'll be having their starters out there.
Yeah, I don't think they can. I don't think there's any chance that they can.
Yeah. So I think Tomlin's 500 and up streak is over.
Yeah. Well, it was a good run. I think he gets fired too, honestly.
See, I mean, I have sympathy for him because I do still think he's a very good coach, and it's not his fault the organization has not given a franchise quarterback in close to 10 years now. But at the same time,
what is good though? Like, I guess it's all relative, and like, yeah, he's going to go 9-8 and he's going to lose in the first round of the playoffs, and he's won a Super Bowl before, but like, what is good? Like, that's kind of just the standard is just going 9-8 now. And obviously there's a lot of coaches that can't do that for you, but then you get a guy like Ben Johnson in Chicago, lights fire under the team. And now
he does also have, just to be fair, he has the first pick in the draft as his quarterback.
Yes, I agree. But Mike Tomlin has been there long enough where he should be able to get a quarterback. He should have enough pull in the front office to get a quarterback if he wants a quarterback. They drafted Kenny Pickett. Don't forget that. They drafted Pickett.
We did do that. Yep.
First round quarterback. Yeah. So that's where it all fell apart for them. And then now
I could see Kyler going to Pittsburgh this offseason.
Kyler's terrible. Kyler is there. A lot of these quarterbacks are bad. It's amazing that we can't get 32 good quarterbacks in the NFL.
I think he's bad too, but I'm just telling you, I could see it happening.
They need They need to draft somebody. Like, they really do.
My third pick, I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars +1.5 against the Indianapolis Colts. Danny Dimes starting to come down a little bit now. He was fine last week, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, but the broken fibula thing is weird. He's not been dominating the way he was earlier in the season. Jonathan Taylor, if you're able to stop him, and that's very difficult to do, but if you are, you go a long way to helping yourself win games. The Jags are one of the best run defenses in the entire NFL this season, second in success rate against the run. Essentially, that means they do a great job of staying ahead of the chains when they are defending against the run, and that's the key to the Colts' success. Meanwhile, their big midseason acquisition, Sauce Gardner, avoided an Achilles tear, but he's got a calf problem. I would be blown away, shocked if he is on the field this weekend. So that means your biggest defensive strength you no longer have. And Trevor Lawrence finally stopped throwing interceptions. What happens? They go out and they win 26-3, 25-3, something absurd. Like, it was not remotely close. So the Jags, even though they're winning the AFC South now, they are still kind of the underdog in the sense that it feels like they weren't expected to be here. House money. The Colts have been dealing with this. They were the new kids on the block, but then they got expectations. And now they've lost 2 straight games. And now they've got these problems going on. Jags at home as well. So I think they win outright.
I like it. Not on my card, but I think it's a good play. I just don't trust Trevor Lawrence yet. Like, it's still hard to trust this team, and anything to do with Trevor Lawrence is scary to trust. So I tip my cap to you, Grant. I hope you get it done here. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't want to do it. The Colts aren't as good as everyone thought they were, though. Like, this whole Danny Dimes, Indiana Jones bull crap, that's done.
I mean, he's in the same class as Sam Darnold, which is they can play some really, really good games, but can they sustain that success for an entire season, or can they sustain it against the great teams? No, they can't.
So this is my 4th pick now. So I'm going to go with, and Grant, I don't know if you're going to like this or not, and I don't like it either. But I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers -6.5 against the Chicago Bears. And I think the Bears are going to get dog walked this weekend at Lambeau Field. I think Jordan Love is going to be ready to go in this football game. I think the Bears have not beaten a good football team yet. And no, I don't classify the Philadelphia Eagles as a good football team at this point in time. It was very impressive what they were able to do running the football against the Eagles. I will not take that away from them. But the overall package of the Eagles, they are terrible. And they made multiple mistakes that cost them the football game. And as close at, I shouldn't say that, as good as the Bears played. The Bears played the best possible game they could have played last weekend. And for the most part, it was a 1-score game that the Eagles had a chance to win throughout the entire time. So I just look at how that went. And I think the Packers against the division opponent, knowing that this game is going to decide the division or help decide the division, is one that the Packers will show up for. They are the better overall team. They have the better defense. They have the better offense. They have the better quarterback. I will take the Packers.
I also have the Packers -6.5. It's the last one here. So I got one more after this, but this is the last one. It's at the bottom of my card. It's tough because I come on here and I give respect to Ben Johnson and the effect that he's had on the Bears, and being 9-3 first place in the conference is no small feat. So I want to give them their credit where I can, but I agree with you that I think the Packers will come out. I don't know if they'll embarrass them necessarily, but I think they can handle them. I think they can win this game by a touchdown or so. They are, Jordan Love, as much as his interceptions are just so stupid, but he doesn't make the stupid mistakes anywhere as often as Caleb Williams does, and that includes inaccuracy. Caleb just misses a lot of throws. The Bears can run the ball to great effect, but so can the Packers, and I would rather have the Packers defense. So a chance to win your 4th straight game. You see what's going on with Detroit. This puts you, a win here would put you back in the first place in the NFC North, potentially the entire NFC as a whole. So I'm with you. I think we're looking at a 27-20, and the Packers get it done.
Yeah, they're better overall team. I think this is the spot where the Bears got to deflate against somebody, and this is the perfect spot for it, especially too. The Bears, the public team coming to this game. Packers will be ready to go.
They also play each other in 2 out of 3 weeks. How about this for the Packers? They finished their season going Bears, Broncos, Bears, Ravens, and then Vikings week 18.
That's brutal.
Yeah,
that's brutal. Yeah, I mean. Yeah, that's the schedule makings. Like, and again, don't get me wrong. I like having multiple division games in the like against the same opponent in the last 5 weeks of the season, but they need to spread them out a little bit. I think there's no reason that, as cool as it is for like just playoff implications and stuff, you're going to get a better product if you don't get the game like head to head, week off against different team, head to head again. Like, I wish there was like 2 weeks between games or 3 weeks, right? Just to give us a little time to let the anticipation build,
Yeah, you should never have 2 out of 3.
No, and there's a lot of teams this year with 2 out of 3.
Yeah,
it feels like.
So we each got one game left, right?
Yep.
All right. Why don't you go ahead?
Chiefs -3.5 Sunday Night Football against the Houston Texans. Got to do it. This is Patrick Mahomes. And I don't care how good the Texans defenses look, blah, blah, blah. I genuinely do not care. Patrick Mahomes with his season on the line, Sunday Night Football, big spot at home. And Andy Reid is one of the best offensive coaches in the history of football. He is going to be ready to scheme up a game plan to beat the Houston Texans. Texans have really taken off. They look very good, obviously, got back-to-back wins. But this is a spot where, everyone counts the Chiefs out. They've had the long week to prepare since they played on Thanksgiving. You get embarrassed on Thanksgiving, and now you get the chance to respond at home against a Houston Texans team that still offensively, I don't trust them to move the football. And I do trust the Chiefs offense to get it done at some point in this game. I'm not saying they're going to score 100 points, but I think they're going to be able to score more than the Houston Texans, and I think they cover this line.
It's scary because the Texans look good and that defense is phenomenal. And I just don't know that the Chiefs can blow anybody out. But at the same time, I'm with you. We talked about it. I can't see a world in which they don't make the playoffs, and that push has got to start at some point.
Yeah. I mean, if they lose, I just tip my cap and I say the season's over, but I still believe in them.
Yeah. All right, my final pick here, and I'm going to go with someone that I know you believe in. You love this guy. I'll take the Bengals +5.5 on the road against the Buffalo Bills. Joe Burrow looked really sharp in his return. He has actually started like 1 of 10 in the red zone, but in some ways that masked what this game could have become. The Bengals were kicking red zone field goals and they still won 32-14. This could have been a 45 or a 50 piece. This could have gotten really nasty. So good signs from the offense, and then defensively holding the Ravens to 14 points. Lamar's been terrible recently, but even still, that you held Derrick Henry in check. This Bengals defense had been the worst in the NFL. So holding any team, the Browns, the Raiders, to 14 points is a good day at the offense for the Bengals. So if they keep any sort of that improved defense going on the road to face the Bills, who have had all of the offensive struggles in the world recently, Josh Allen, by the way, I want to double check this. I think there are only 3 quarterbacks who have more interceptions than Josh Allen this season. Yep, it's Geno and Tua at 14, Trevor Lawrence at 11, and then it's Josh Allen and some others at 10. Looking at his recent games, he's thrown 6 interceptions in his last 4 games, including at least 1 in all 4 of those. Only 123 yards last week. I get it. It wasn't close. They won 26-7, but even still, that was not on the back of Josh Allen. That was on the back of James Cook. So, again, any sort of improved defensive performance from the Bengals here. The Bills' offense has been very inconsistent. Allen has been turning it over. And Joe Burrow showed you I can still do what you know me and love me for. Jamar Chase, all those boys. So Bengals keep it close.
Yeah, I don't know if they win the game outright. I think they do keep it within the spread margin too. I think Josh Allen's like a whiny baby. You feel like that? You like Josh?
He's getting very Luka.
Yeah.
He's getting very Luka, where you touch him and he's flopping and he's shouting at the refs looking for help.
Since he's gotten married, he's become this like whiny baby. That's kind of the perfect timeline for it. I think Josh used to be like, everyone loved Josh. Like I'm starting to,
I think it's a popularity thing. I think more people kind of turned to him as the hero, because Mahomes was the hero until he started winning too much. Then he became a villain. When Allen became the hero, I think he started looking for help.
But then I think once Allen lost continuously against the Chiefs in big games, it faded. And now I think everyone's on to Drake May.
Well, yes. At the end of this season, if he keeps it up, Drake May will be the guy for sure.
Drake May is the new hero to beat the Patriots are back in the hero spot. As much as people hate that, I think people want to see the Bills win the Super Bowl. But Josh Allen, man, just been whiny baby. Like I'm losing my love for Josh Allen. It's crazy. I have a Josh Allen jersey.
You do? I forgot about that.
Yeah, I have a Josh Allen jersey. I think he's being a baby half the time.
I agree with you. He is a baby. That's how he plays. I mean, he literally flops.
He flops. He looks sad. He complains. It's just like he's just not. I don't know. The Bills never going to win a Super Bowl. Not this year, at least.
Well,
anyway, that was it. That's our 5.
That was good. I like our picks this week.
I do too. I think it's a good week. I think we'll get back to some favorites. Last week was a lot of dogs. I think favorites are going to respond this week. So we'll see what happens. But anyways, Grant, that was Ride the Line, the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. Make sure you guys subscribe to the show. Make sure you guys share the show. And also check out WSN.com for all the picks, promo codes, sports betting articles you can find on there. And Grant, take us out of here.
Guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Ride the Line. Make sure you do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. And check out WSN.com for all of the great picks and sportsbook promo codes, all that great stuff. Tanner and I will catch you all in the next episode of Ride the Line.